Hello everyone, welcome. Let's explore the today's editorial page. Our objective is to get familiar with powerful words that will enhance our communication. Also, make sure to pronounce each word after me to improve your pronunciation. Don't forget to take the test at the end of the video. Ready? Let's go. Our first word is milieu. It's a noun, which means a person's physical or social environment. In simpler terms, it's the social setting or conditions that an individual lives or operates in. Let's look at some examples to understand better. He grew up in a military milieu. Another example would be, the company's creative milieu fosters innovation. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for milieus are environment, surroundings, and setting. There are no near antonyms for this word. Next, we have dispersion. This is a noun that refers to the action or process of distributing things or people over a wide area. In simpler terms, it's about spreading things out over a large area. Let's see some examples. The dispersion of the crowd caused chaos. And another example is the dispersion of seeds by the wind. The synonyms or words with similar meanings for dispersion are distribution, scattering, and dissemination. The antonyms are collection, gathering, and accumulation. Moving on to maneuvers. This is a noun that describes a movement or series of moves requiring skill and care. Simply put, it's a planned and controlled movement or action. See these examples to understand better. The army performed maneuvers in the field. Next example is, the driver made a series of tight maneuvers. Synonyms or words with similar meanings for maneuvers are operation, exercise, and movement. The antonyms are stillness, inaction, and rest. Our next word is culminating. It's a verb that means to reach a climax or point of highest development. In simpler terms, it's when something reaches its highest point or final, most important stage. Let's look at some examples. The campaign culminated in a glorious victory. Another example would be, the event culminated with a grand finale. These are the words that have similar meanings with culminating, are climaxing, peaking, and cresting. The antonyms are start, begin, and initiate. In the backdrop is a phrase that means in the background. It refers to something that is not in the main focus, but is still present or noticeable. This is how to use it in a sentence. The mountains were silhouetted in the backdrop. Another example is, the city's skyline was in the backdrop. The synonyms for in the backdrop are background, setting, and surroundings. The antonyms are foreground, front, and highlight. Next up is slew. It's a noun that refers to a large number or quantity of something. In simpler terms, it means having a lot of something. Let's see some examples. He asked a slew of questions. Another example would be, she has a slew of ideas for the project. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for slew are multitude, plethora, and abundance. Antonyms for this word include few, scarcity, and lack. Moving on to apprehension. It's a noun that means anxiety or fear that something bad or unpleasant will happen. In simpler terms, it's the feeling of being worried or scared about something negative occurring. Let's look at some examples. He felt a sense of apprehension about the future. Another example is, her apprehension grew as the date neared. The synonyms for apprehension includes anxiety, fear, and dread. The antonyms are confidence, assurance, and calmness. Now let's talk about marred. It's a verb that means to impair the appearance of or disfigure something. In simpler terms, it's about spoiling or damaging the look or quality of something. Let's see some examples. The graffiti marred the beauty of the wall. Another example is, his reputation was marred by scandals. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for marred are deface, spoil, and damage. The antonyms are enhance, improve, and beautify. Our next word is subsequent. It's an adjective that describes something coming after something else in time, following. In simpler terms, it means happening or existing after something else has happened. Let's look at some examples. The theory was developed subsequent to the discovery of the new evidence. Another example is, his subsequent actions led to his downfall. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for subsequent are following, succeeding, and later. The antonyms are preceding, prior, and earlier. Now let's discuss requisitioning. It's a verb that means to demand the use or supply of something, especially by official order. In simpler terms, it's about officially requesting or ordering the use or supply of something. The government is requisitioning private property for the project. Another example is, the army is requisitioning supplies for the troops. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for requisitioning are demand, request, and order. The antonyms are give, supply, and provide. Next, we have haphazard. It's an adjective that means lacking any obvious principle of organization. In simpler terms, it describes something that is disorganized or random. This is how to use it in a sentence. The books were arranged in a haphazard manner. Another example is, his haphazard approach to the job resulted in many mistakes. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for haphazard are random, disorganized, and chaotic. The antonyms are organized, orderly, and systematic. Next, we have in the fray. This phrase means being involved in a competitive situation or fight. In simpler terms, it refers to being actively participating in a competition or conflict. Let's look at some examples. He was in the fray for the leadership position. Another example is, she threw her hat in the fray for the election. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for in the fray are in the fight, in the competition, and in the struggle. The antonyms are out of the fight, out of the competition, and out of the struggle. Next, we have concede. It's a verb that means to admit that something is true or valid after first denying or resisting it. In simpler terms, it's about accepting or acknowledging the truth, even if you initially disagreed or resisted it. Here are some examples to understand better. He had to concede that he had lied. Another example is, she conceded defeat in the election. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for concede are admit, acknowledge, and accept. The antonyms are deny, dispute, and challenge. Moving on to debilitating. It's an adjective that describes something that makes someone very weak and infirm. In simpler terms, it means causing someone to become extremely weak or frail. Let's look at some examples. The disease had a debilitating effect on him. Another example is, the heat was debilitating and made it hard to work. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for debilitating are weakening, enfeebling, and exhausting. The antonyms are strengthening, invigorating, and energizing. Acrimony is a noun that refers to bitterness or ill feeling. It describes a state of intense negative emotions or hostility between individuals or groups. When there is acrimony, there is a strong sense of resentment or animosity present. Let's see some examples. The meeting ended in acrimony. Another example is, there was acrimony in their relationship. Words with similar meanings or synonyms for acrimony are bitterness, resentment, and animosity. The antonyms are goodwill, harmony, and amicability. Now let's see how much you remember from this session. Pause the video and read the sentence carefully. In the military milieu, the army performed a series of maneuvers with great skill and care, culminating in a grand finale that left the crowd in awe, despite the initial apprehension and acrimony among the participants. Did you understand the meaning of the sentence? Now try this one. The haphazard dispersion of seeds by the wind resulted in a slew of plants growing in the background, creating a beautiful natural milieu. However, the marred beauty of the landscape was subsequently requisitioned by the government for development, causing discontent and fostering a sense of acrimony among the local community. Congratulations on making it through the test. I hope you were able to identify the words and their meanings in the sentences. Remember, expanding your vocabulary and understanding these words can greatly enhance your communication skills. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel for more educational content, and sharing it with your friends and classmates. Your support means a lot to us.